finally. Uh, so we can finally talk. No, everyone left. Anyway, I'll just post it on Discord, and then we'll get to the first topic. You can hear me well, right? Why do I not see your comments anywhere except on my screen? Like I don't see them in chats. Interesting. Okay. Anyway, so the third thing I want to talk about, the reason I decided that this will be the topic, is one particular study. I guess that supposedly reveals that like more female DNA, hi Rami, more female DNA was spread, like more women procreated than men. And this is an argument I often see from blackpill. I need to find it. Also, because my kettle broke down, I have to use a pot and a stove to get myself tea. And 17 women for every one man I saw her before. Did I enjoy my walk? Yes, that's why I sent you so many photos. Yes, just like you told me, yeah. I switched to DuckDuckGo. But but it doesn't provide as many options or many relevant options, and I feel like a traitor, but it's like, unfortunately, sometimes Google AI does the work well. Yandex is ironically the safest engine to use. Yes, I think so too. It's like that's why I often don't give a fuck about Western social media websites potentially stealing my data. Well, most likely doing it, not potentially. Because, like, what are you gonna do with it? Recommend me a shirt? Like, it won't even be relevant to my search. They can't even sell me things. God, I came across a comment that had a link to a website. So I, of course, clicked the link. Oh, right, I found it. More women have reproduced than men. Research. I am present mostly physically today. Your physical presence is appreciated. More women reproduced than men. I will add. Where is it? Window capture. Okay. I may start making lunch soon and research personal blenders to buy later on. Okay, so Smithsonian Magazine is what they tell us. And let's look. Blackpill. No. God. I should have saved the comment some way. I just want to, see how they talk about it before we dive into it. So, Google search it is. It feels upsetting using Google search, having to use Google search. Humanity is reverting back to prehistoric mating strategies, and we are the losers who were unfortunate enough to be born as non-chads. No. Okay. Fine. Let it be that. So, this is the link I saw used in an argument. Let's do it like this. No. So this was a study. A new study shows that more women than men have contributed to the human gene pool. Okay, so the way it is framed, oh my god, 11 years ago. No. luxmaxim.org. Let's start with the one I saw, because I've checked it. It will be quick, we won't need to dive into it. So, a new study in the journal Investigate Genetics shows that throughout human history, more women were reproducing than men were. The study examined DNA sample of people from around the world, looking into their mitochondria DNA passed down through the female line and the Y chromosome passed down the male line. The researchers found that historically, more women than men were reproducing, potentially as a result of polygyny, in which one man is married to multiple wives. The results also showed geographical differences as life science. I do not see the comments. Why is that? Enkidu went through. Oh, here. Enkidu was the first incel in history. Wait a second. I mean, I think he was the first doomed DOA character. No? So, okay. The researchers found that historically more women than men were reproducing, potentially as a result of polygyny, in which one man is married to multiple wives. But the results also showed geographical differences, as Life Science reports. On a regional scale, the DNA sample showed a detailed story. Sorry, I remembered I need to take my meds. I think I'll contact my psychiatrist and will consider that maybe I need to take less of mood stabilizers, because I don't feel as, insane as I used to without taking this meds. Fuck. I don't have enough cold water. I'm such a mess. I think that maybe if I go easier on mood stabilizers, I won't be feeling as empty as I feel these days. Anyway, Kidno and Kido, you know what? At some point, maybe you remember, I mentioned that I might have dyslexia. So anyway, this is saying his name in English for one of the first times. I only now learned that he is Enkidu and not Echidnu. So yeah, Enkidu was Gilgamesh's best bro and possibly his male lover. Where have we heard that story? But he was a wild man who only became tamed and civilized after Gilgamesh sent a temple prostitute to fuck him. So yeah, kind of like exactly what I'm saying. It's not really an incel if you're in love with your best friend. I thought Russians hate drinking cold water. I love cold water. Love it so much. Anyway, but especially isn't Enkidu genderless? Oh, this much I don't remember. So, on a regional scale, the DNA sample showed a detailed story. For example, people in East Asia and Europe have larger differences for paternal than for maternal DNA, suggesting high level of female migration. In contrast, populations in Africa, Oceania, how do you pronounce it in English? In Russia, it's Oceania, because ocean is ocean. So Oceania. And the Americas have, so Africa, Oceania, and the Americas have bigger differences for maternal DNA than paternal DNA. I do not, like, obviously I can't understand the connection, the correlation, what is it, proportionality correctly here, the reason for this. Perhaps fewer men than women reproduced among America's early colonists, researchers said when they saw the high amount of mitochondrial DNA diversity. Mitochondrial DNA is useful for all sorts of historical explorations. It has also recently been one blah blah blah. So a very short article, right? Easy to read. And not only that, in this article that people refer to, it says that East Asia and Europe suggest that more women reproduce, right? And in Africa, Oceania, and the Americas, it was the opposite. Oh, wait, fewer men than women reproduced among America. So high diversity for women, many women. High diversity for men, more men. Okay. So it's the opposite. It's in East. Anyway, what we see here is that it is stated that this is, first of all, regional. So it region. Oh my god, regional. So it's not the law of nature, right? And the second is that it's very possible that the reason can be cultural. Like you to, not have this take, not take away this, you need to reveal what? No, you need to, what's going on in my head? This is what happens when I'm on a withdrawal. Like, usually I am suffering from withdrawal from venlafaxine because it feels more severe, and I feel my face becoming numb, or like I don't have a balance. Anyway, so we have Y chromosome that maybe Ayuna, are you here? Are you able to provide us with your STEM knowledge? So mitochondrial DNA is inherited through mothers. Y chromosome is inherited through fathers. Here we report a sample capture array method to enrich. God, this is too much. So approximately kilobyte? Is this kilobyte? Yeah, 500 kilobyte of NRY sequence we used to generate NRI sequences from 6 to 3 males from whoa. Anyway, I will not pretend that I understand it well. I mean, you kind of need to have some kind of understanding of what they're doing. So mitochondrial DNA through mother, NRY, yeah, too much hardcore science. That's true. NRY through fathers. I'm trying to understand like their sample, how it's produced. So it seems they have a library for NRY. So they used 623 males from 51 populations, and they looked at their NRY, so male chromosome sequence, and mitochondrial DNA that is from mothers, allowing us to compare maternal and paternal histories free of any ascertainment bias. So, do you hear a child laughing? Or is it just mine? results confirm the controversial assertion that genetic differences between human populations on a global scale are bigger for NRY than for mtDNA, mitochondrial DNA. It was interesting, right? How this child laughed. Although the differences are not as large as previously suggested, more importantly, we find substantial regional variation in patterns of mitochondrial DNA versus NRY variation. Model-based simulation indicated very small ancestral effective population sizes for out of Africa immigration as well as for many human populations. The ratio of female effective population to male effective population size has been greater than one throughout the history of modern humans and has recently increased due to faster growth in female population than male population. So is there, like, I don't think you want me to try and go down there, but the thing is, yes, there are more women than men reproducing, but it depends on the region of the person and of the person where you're taking the DNA from, who you're taking the DNA from. And it might as well be cultural, since it's different in different geographics, right? Is it understandable what I said? Let's see what they say. This 17 women for every one man. Once upon a time, 4,000 to 8,000 years after humanity invented agriculture, something very strange happened to human reproduction. Across the globe, for every 17 women who were reproducing, passing on genes that are still around today, only one man did the same. It wasn't like there was mass death of males. They were there, so what were they doing? Asks scientist and a member of group of scientists who uncovered that moment in the prehistory by analyzing modern genes. I'm just thinking about which sources should we pick. Oh no. Whoa. Why? Did you see it? That was not what I wanted to show. No, DuckDuckGo, why are you doing this to me? You know what? I'm back to Google. Oh my god, now you are not gonna see anything. This way. in my search, it's not my search, it's DuckDuckGo's results. Go and look for the same thing. Yeah, there's a lot to edit. You live and you learn, but I don't do that. I just live. No learning involved. History. Evolution. Okay, fine. Let's look at this thing. It exposes her fans shocked. You were my thoughts are not working. I'm sorry. But I do not feel empty, which is good. So it wasn't like there was a death. Another member of the research team, a biological anthropologist, hypothesizes that somehow only a few men accumulated lots of wealth and power, leaving nothing to others. So 4 to 8 years after humanity invented agriculture, it happened. So this again was not a natural phenomenon, right? Obviously there supposedly was something that led to it, because before the first 4,000 years after humanity invented agriculture, it wasn't like this. So it's just that it's not throughout the history, it's just a very weird period in human history that leaves people, scientists, confused. It's not an argument for the existence of some chads, and it's not prehistoric, pre-cultural, it's not natural, so to say. These men could pass their wealth on to their sons, perpetuating the pattern of elitist reproductive success. Then, as more thousands of years passed, the numbers of men reproducing compared to women rose again. Maybe more and more people started being successful, Wilson Cyrus says. In more recent history, as a global average, about 4 or 5 women reproduced for every 1 man. These 2 graphs that we can see show the number. What's the source? No source. Okay. Physically driven natural selection shaped many human traits. Ethnic Africans, Europeans had to evolve to digest milk, for example, while most ethnic Tibetans have adapted to deal with the lower. No, they obviously copied an actual post, because here, yeah, it's in PS Mag, Pacific Standard. I had opened. Yeah, here. Number of men, left, right, number of women. Such an interesting situation. This is not normal. You see, right? The biggest dive came from Southeast and East Asia, it seems. Even though it was kind of throughout the world. This is wild that this happened. It just shows how little we know about, the world around us, how it was, how we were. The team uncovered the deep and rise in the male-to-male reproductive ratio, but looking at DNA from more than 550 volunteers from 7 world regions. Geneticists analyzed 2 parts of the DNA, Y chromosome DNA and mitochondrial DNA. Again, these don't make up a large portion of person's genes, but they're special because Y is from male, mitochondrial from female. By analyzing diversity in these parts, scientists are able to reduce the number of female and male ancestors a population has. It's always more female. It wasn't like there was a mass death, okay? So yeah. That's it. Basically, the further test the wealth and power idea, the researchers plan to look for other genetic markers that would indicate that something cultural, not physical, kept those early male farmers from reproducing. Team members could also collaborate with anthropologists and archaeologists if they have any clues. Nature is a harsh taskmaster, but so it seems is human culture, although the popular notion is that farming and settlement cushioned people against survival of the fittest. This study shows that's not true. Something cultural happened 8,000 years ago that's marked us even today. And what do they say? It's over for subchats. Just lay down and rot. Genocentric propaganda. What? Like, do you think this is reasonable? To see this as, women born chance. Wait, I am now worried about what can appear in my Reddit search, because I search for different things. The agricultural revolution and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race. Well, that's a new take in my knowledge. Why do you say so? Oh my god, I want you. So 8,000 years ago, there was an incel epidemic, so they gave mugs to cope. Look at this. Google this and search this on DuckDuckGo and look at the results. This is insane. Hot guy, hard cooking, horny pussy. hard with cum. Why? DuckDuckGo, why do you do this to me? Oh my god. Пиздец. On DuckDuckGo, you do not get... On DuckDuckGo. You searched it on DuckDuckGo, right? Not on Google, not on any other website search engine. And you did not get these results. I can promise you I do not use DuckDuckGo to... Why? Can you send me screenshots on Discord? I am very confused. Oh, if you don't capitalize the letters, you don't get corn. Oh, thank God. I was scared. Men's rights. Let's look at men's rights. And there's Forever Alone. I just want to make sure my Reddit history is fine and clear and nothing insane is going to come up. Now, I need you to put proof that you also get corn when there's not supposed to be corn. Okay, so we're at it now. Let's look. 4 or 5 women reproduce for every 1 man. Significant. That was 11 years ago. It's not worth talking about. I'm even a little bit upset. Let's do scientific black pill. Oh, black pill science, right? But off topic, but who is your favorite adaptation? Disney's Winnie Pooh, Soviet Winnie Pooh, or our own Winnie? Our own Winnie, of course, because I don't remember the others really. No, I remember ours. Wait a second. You need to see something fun. let's take a musical break.
Давным-давно, кажется, в прошлую пятницу,
So,
жил в одной стране медвежонок под именем...
Вот что. Когда идешь за медом, главное, чтобы пчелы тебя не заметили.
как вам
Если
голос?
шар будет зеленый,
How do you like the voice?
не заметят его. А если шар будет синий, они подумают, что это просто кусочек неба. И тоже ничего не заметят.
He sounded like you're drunk.
Может заметить, а может и нет. О, я притворюсь, будто я маленькая тучка. Тогда они не догадаются.
I'll pretend that I'm just a little, oh my god, I forgot the word, dark cloud. Then they won't figure out that I'm a bear.
Тогда ты лучше взять синюшку. Куда идем мы с гасточком? Большой секрет. И не расскажем мы о нем нет.
Да.
My dad, when I was a kindergartner, in the morning, my dad would encourage me to get ready for the kindergarten by singing this song. What is the piggy name in English? Where we go with piggy is a big secret, and we won't tell about it. No. Piglet. Okay. So where we go with Piglet is a big secret, and we won't tell about it. No.
У тебя есть зонтик?
Зонтик?
Видишь ли, я как раз подумал, а не захватить ли нам на всякий случай зонтик? От этих пчел всего можно ждать.
Идем мы с гасточком. Большой секрет.
Не расскажем мы о нем. Нет.
Да. Подержи.
Hold on.
Ну вот. Теперь я совсем как настоящая черная тучка.
Куда идем мы с
Now
гасточком?
I'm truly a dark cloud.
И не расскажем мы о нем нет.
Нет. Надувай шарик.
Was it in the original text?
Отпускай. Что, здорово? Ну, на кого я теперь похож?
За медведя, который летит на воздушном шаре.
Who do I look like now? Like a bear that flies using a balloon.
Маленькую тучку разве не похож?
Do I not look like a little dark cloud?
Нет,
No,
очень.
not really.
Может, отсюда больше похож.
Okay.
Я не знаю, что придет в голову этим пчелам. Это что? По-моему, пчелы что-то подозревают.
I think they suspect something.
Не знаю. Но только они ведут себя подозрительно.
Может, они думают, что ты хочешь утащить у них мед?
Пятачок. Кажется, они не верят, что я черная тучка.
А что делать?
Piglet, I don't think they believe I'm a dark cloud.
Открывай зонтик и ходи взад-вперед. Я буду петь Тучкину песню, а ты смотри на меня и говори.
Open the umbrella and walk here and there, walk right, left,
Кажется, дождь собирается.
and look at me and say, I think rain is starting. I think rain is starting.
Дождь собирается.
I think rain is starting.
Кажется, дождь собирается. Кажется, дождь собирается. Я тучка, 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 я вовсе не медведь. А как приятно тучки по небу лететь.
I'm a dark cloud, cloud, cloud. I'm not a bear at all. Oh, how nice it is to be a cloud and fly in the sky.
Что, кажется, дождь собирается. Я думал, я все понял. Оказывается, это
No, it is not my teapot. It's my washing machine. These bees are not right, and they're probably not doing. And what? The honey they're making is probably not right. Okay, sorry. That's enough. So when I was in university, for our last semester of foreign European literature, the Western literature, we needed to talk about one adaptation of a classical piece. And I chose Metterling's piece, play, Blue Bird. I think it was called Blue Bird. Yeah, so originally there was, an anime adaptation of this play. Classical modern play, modern as in modernist literature. It was the beginning of the 20th century. So I thought, whoa, anime, this is wild. I think I want that. I want to try that. But I was putting it off for too long, and I kind of started doing it the day of the presentation. So I was like, I'm not gonna manage how many 17 episodes of an anime about on a play. But there was USSR's adaptation of this play too. And it was, I think, like made in 1930s. And I watched it on twice the speed because it was so slow. Anyway. What shall we choose? Chicken prefer beautiful humans. Oh, I remember this guy. He was a bitch to me. He used the war in Ukraine as lack of brotherhood is inevitable. It's just not as popular with them. But we can do it as this is what you want. who admit to behavior that legally meets the definition of the say tend to be more popular, have higher status, and have more consensual sex partners. Popular, high status, mature men are not male. Deprived men are more likely to essay. Being very intelligent made a potential mate less attractive. Interesting. Which one? Brotherhood? Height takes the back seat when it comes to white women's preferences. We found that ratings of attractiveness were 1,000 more sensitive to salary for females rating men compared to males rating females. Sexlessness is associated with higher IQ, increased educational attainment, lower BMI, and lower ADHD rates. Women feel unsafe when objectified, but may still self-sexualize if the man is attractive or wealthy. Pick one. What do you think? Brotherhood? Ah, the dick pill post. You want the dick pill? Okay. I remember that this was the bitter guy. I say either dick pill or the one on self-sexualization. Okay, I want to do the self-sexualization, but I'm sure I will be reading their comments, but I will get very upset at them, and I will need mental support, because I can already predict what they are going to say. Иуда. Abstract. This research examined the effects of a sexually objectifying gaze from potential partner on women's self-sexualization in blind dating from the perspective of evolutionary psychology. Across 2 samples from an urban Chinese university, we examined whether a sexually objectifying gaze versus control condition could decrease women's self-sexualizing by increasing safety, anxiety, Additionally, we tested whether a potential partner's resource richness could moderate this effect. Results show that sexually objectifying gaze from the male partner stably triggered, and as I understand it's a typo, right? Stably triggered participants' state safety anxiety regardless of whether or not the partner had high socioeconomic status or high appearance attractiveness. However, higher state safety anxiety did not lead to a lower level of self-sexualization when the partner had socioeconomic status or high appearance attractiveness, indicating that our female participants tended to take both safety and resources into account when making decisions about their sexual attractiveness under the culture of sexual objectification. Let's see. Actually, let's start with one obvious thing. As far as we can see, what are the limitations of these two studies? Dissenting. Guys, please, what are the most obvious limitations of the study that we can talk about right now? If I'm reading it right, relatively small sample size. I mean, that too, yes. But there's something more important than the size of the sample. Any ideas? Maybe Ayuna can tell. As someone who interacts with researchers firsthand. No, nothing. Okay, I never was a numbers guy. So, you see? Across two samples from an urban Chinese university, does one urban Chinese university give a sufficient presentation of all women across all cultures, ages, socio-economic status, cultural context? Yeah. It's not even China versus the West. It could be China's young women versus China's older women. It could be China's urban university students versus China's people who did not get higher education. This is a very specific slice of people. It doesn't necessarily mean that the I figured that was covered under low sample size, not enough variety. I mean, you can have a big sample size with no variety, and you can have low sample size but at least somehow with some variety. Like when we are talking about limitations of the sample, just few people is not enough. Like in terms of representing their university, this size this size of a sample would be very representative, I think. But yeah, Chinese culture is very specific, I would say. Yes, they are very materialistic. You know, on YouTube, there's this YouTuber called Wonny. Oh my god. Who covers Chinese here. Some, extreme situations, I would say, that happen on social media, that we see on social media, like Chinese influencer. He does it using the source, translating from Chinese, which is, very good. I would say it's a good quality. Anyway, the point is that if you look at this, and if you look at how popular these kind of things are, you will understand how, extremely specific Chinese youth right now is. Like, extremely materialistic, yes. If you saw how they look, what they value in looks is very unrealistic. Like, no human can look like this. Permanent smile, same face. Like, there was a girl literally letting people know what procedures she had. Then again, fake body parts. I remember when I was working in doesn't matter. I was looking at products that we could buy on Alibaba, and sometimes I would venture in interesting spaces, or I would get recommendations on my Alibaba app, and there were fake asses, so many. I am so sorry that we are flying up. Our ratings are skyrocketing. I'm sorry. I should have done it differently, but it is what it is. I need my clothes washed. Sorry. Anyway. Let us continue. Who is Sukhoi? What is Sukhoi? So yeah, very specific, extreme culture, materialistic, focused on visual signs of attractiveness. Like, they have these rules, like your shoulder should be 90 degrees, then like your waist should fit behind a sheet of paper. To shower with clothes on to save water. Good for the planet too. Nice. Anyway, what else is special about Chinese? You know, some people would think China is a communist country because they have communist in their name. Communist Republic of China? How is it? China is an extremely capitalistic place. People's Republic of China. Oh, right. Their governing party is what is it? Something communist. Chinese Communist Party. They are not communist. There's oligarchy and capitalism. It's funny because Chinese online retailers are popular in the States, yet they still sell clothes in idealized Chinese sizes and not for fat American sizes. Because for bigger bodies, it's harder to make clothes fit and see there's like more variation in sizes. The construction is more difficult. Like on a flat body, you can kind of just put a sheet of paper on top of it and it would work as, you know, one side of a top. On a curvous body, this wouldn't work. There's a lot of fluctuation. That's why models are so thin. That's just because it's easier to make clothes for them. And I think it sucks because if you make clothes only for someone who it's easy to make clothes for, it's not really craftsmanship, I think. I saw videos of Chinese teachers living in the USA who said that when she went back to China, they called her fat despite being a smaller size. Have you seen Chinese beauty ideals? Let's go Chinese influencers. I'm a little bit afraid now. How would we... No. Actresses. Okay, we can't. Red carpet. They have their own red carpet. And we cannot really look at what they have. The stream is a mess. Anyway, that's kind of how thin they are. I'm afraid I will have to use Google again. I might have to switch from DuckDuckGo after all. Do you see how they look? All of them are extremely thin. Anyway, that was venturing far away. Anyway, so wild place to choose a Chinese university. But let's look at the comments. Lol, I dated a girl with multiple sisters. I got pretty close with the family, and my girlfriend at the time basically told me everything about their dating lives. I saw firsthand how they would get heinous, sexualized, objectifying messages from men on Twitter with their opening message, and they'd still respond to and they entertain those guys because they were attractive. As a mean-looking dude, I was shocked by this. I asked my girlfriend at the time about this. Something like, so women will respond to guys who send the messages like that if they're attractive. She said yes. This thread is about 8 years old. Oh. Yes, so I was so sure people would find out that this message was copied from somewhere. When I started dating my ex-girl, I took her to a cliff overlooking the city. On our second date, we sat there for about 2 hours and just talked until she said, "Can we leave? My ass is starting to hurt." Really, with someone with as big of an ass as yourself, it shouldn't be a problem. Her response? "Thank you," while smiling. If she likes you and finds you attractive, expressing attraction isn't a bad thing. Let's see this one. Liking is one thing, we all know that, no shit. Giving them passes to exhibit antisocial, negative and abusive traits is another, especially considering so many women make claims about personality being the big factor when attractive guys have the exact same or worse personality. This tells us personality is often extremely secondary to looks, which is what the black pill is. That's what we're talking about here. Now one might say guys put looks over personality too. Many do. The difference is guys don't lie to ourselves or others about it. How do they define a sexually objectifying gaze? Staring while ugly. How do they define staring? Blinking 45 times a minute instead of 50, 60. If he's hot, he can stare. If he's not, he's literally... Okay. Now, results showed that objectifying triggered participant state safety anxiety regardless of whether or not they were wealthy or attractive. However, this did not lead to a lower level height state safety anxiety did not lead to a lower risk of sex. I did not understand it correctly the first time, so let's look at the study. Again, as we know, Chinese university not representative of the world at large, I would hope. I watched a video recently about the story about how a Chinese couple in San Francisco, software engineers. So the guy was married to the girl. They were both software engineers, getting hundreds of thousands of dollars monthly. He and her went to the same university in China. She was one level lower than him on Google rating, on Google levels with engineers, and this was because he forced her to move from Amazon, where she would get promotion, to Google so he could monitor her. However, despite all of this, he was convinced he was marrying down because she went to a school that wasn't as good as his, even though that school was the best in her region, even though she had great grades, was always a top student, and because his parents are government employees. So he killed her, as they do, because he didn't want to divorce. So this is, insane culture of China. Oh, Sergio joined. Hi, Sala. So yeah. Read the full text. No, you will not. Go fuck yourself. That's great. And then it is time to pirate, right? Asian Journal of Social Psychology. I wonder if I will be able to find it or not. If you can look at it so we'll be able to find it, that would be nice. I think LibGen should be able to provide us with something. I hate how they post inaccessible data. Not now. Okay, let's see the retelling. Two studies conducted in China suggest that a sexually objectifying gaze from a male partner increases women's safety-related anxiety regardless of the partner's attractiveness or socioeconomic status. However, the heightened anxiety did not reduce women's tendency to self-sexualize when the partner was described as attractive or high in socioeconomic status. I am not showing you the thing. Someone... Oh. Automod got you. Holy shit, some motherfucker lit a firecracker just under my window and now there's smoke is coming through my window. Oh. Happy 4th of July to my burger self. Okay. Will LibGen save us? Why does it not search anything? Huh? Just something in French. I guess we will have to deal with retelling of the article. The paper isn't on honors. Could it be that it's in Chinese? Okay. So, if you see someone citing a source that you cannot access, do not trust them. Probably Tunisian. It's a year old. Because if they did not provide accessible link, there's a high chance they haven't read it themselves. Just press them. They either show you what where they found it, or they shit their pants, I guess. What else to say? True, doubt they spend money or have access. Yeah. Okay, so self-sexualization refers to the act of presenting oneself in a sexually suggestive manner. Women may engage in this behavior to gain attention, approval, or social and economic advantages. Examples of self-sexualization may include wearing revealing clothing, adopting provocative poses, or emphasizing sexual attractiveness in social media images. While some individuals view self-sexualization, what a terrible word, self-sexualization, I said it right, as a form of empowerment and personal expression, others argue that it may reinforce sexual objectification and harmful gender stereotypes. Psychological research indicates that frequent self-sexualization tends to be associated with increased self-objectification. So, you see, what's important is that sexualization and objectification are different things. People often confuse the two. Where individuals begin to view themselves primarily from an external or evaluative perspective, kind of like, Luxmasters do to themselves. They view themselves as objects, externally instead of internally. This mindset have been linked to negative outcomes such as body dissatisfaction, appearance-related anxiety, and impaired cognitive performance in certain contexts. As you can see, this is not something that people here would care about. Cultural and media influences, particularly the widespread sexualization of women in advertising and entertainment, may increase the likelihood of self-sexualizing behavior. So this is a lot of cultural influence in it. It's not in any way, natural. This is a learned behavior that we express more in some cases. As I don't remember who exactly said it, you are a woman with a man inside watching a woman. So you kind of, it's very hard to get rid of this internal, male observer inside you who judges you from the perspective of your attractiveness. When you are judged from your attractiveness, your sexual appeal, so many times. Look, what an interesting study. Here we see. We should look at this sometime later. So, yeah, this songs. Still, individual Motivations vary widely from personal confidence to enjoyment to internalized social pressures. I would argue that these varieties come mixed. So, personal confidence and internalized pressures do not exist separately from each other. If you are used to put your value on your attractiveness, you will feel more confident when you feel attractive. That's logical. And also, before that, while some individuals view self-sexualization as a form of empowerment and personal expression, others argue that it may reinforce objectification. So these things can also coexist: objectification and empowerment, both being coming from self-sexualization. Remember when one of the founders of Reddit tried to do just that? If I was a billionaire, I'd buy every paper of every publication and dump everything online for everyone to read. Reddit tried to do just that and ended up self-deleting because he was being hounded by the powers that be for doing just that. Oh, I haven't heard about it. I only heard about mysterious deaths of people who search for more eco-friendly energy sources. Okay, so when I definitely had problems that I had to discuss with my psychologist on how me seeing my value through my sexual attractiveness forms the way I process certain things, the way I express myself. It's okay when AI companies scrape the entirety of human knowledge. Yeah. When they chew and vomit everyone's art too. Anyway, study authors Jincheng Gu and Lu Jinzheng set out to examine how safety anxiety triggered by sexual objectification might influence women's self-sexualization choices in a romantic context. Specifically, they wanted to know whether the presence of objectifying behavior would deter women from self-sexualization, and whether this effect would depend on the perceived attractiveness or socioeconomic status of the man engaging in the objectification. To investigate this, they conducted 2 experiments. If only I could value myself by being sexy, but I don't have that luck. It's not luck. It's not like if I feel sexy that I'm just better than when I'm not sexy. It's more so like the only reason you have value is that you are fuckable, and if you are and fuckable. You do not have value. So whenever you notice how often it has been that women get called ugly for anything, literally doing anything, you get ugly and fat, including, as we often know, rejection. Of course, this has been happening to men recently too, but it's still not as much of a constant phenomenon that influences even the way you grow up. Like, I remind you, I grew up being basically sexually harassed, and it started in kindergarten because sexual harassment is so normalized that kids, boys, perform it to be cool, like, adult men. Like, what children do is they copy behavior of adults that they think should be behaved, should be copied the way they should behave. And what we see is that how I experienced boys behaving in kindergarten is showing my genitalia and upskirting me. How should I say it? Just flipping my skirt up as I'm 5 years old. Like, kind of the first time you learn to connect shame with your sexuality is at age when you don't even really have your sexuality yet. Like, you internalize this view of yourself before you learn to count this kind of thing. Like, okay, maybe not before you learn to count, of course, but as you go to school, like your first class, you already have this idea that you need to be attractive to be valued. Like, it runs so deep. I know we've been talking a lot about like how, well, we the leftists, we have been talking a lot about how basically what Lux Maxers go through is the experience of this scrutiny towards your own body that women go through. But for them, while for many, of course, it is to the point of bending their whole personality to its will. Like, I think Luz is absolutely got his mind wrapped with it. Obviously, Lux Maxing is in its nature a mind-fuck, mind-breaking stuff, humiliation ritual that you seek out. But most likely he did not grew up grow up with it. I mean, maybe this is a part of why they get such extreme, I think, body dysmorphia compared to women in general, is that they kind of get exposed to it in what is Slavina? Like when snow falls, you know, fast and strong. Anyway, they get hit with all of it at once. Meanwhile, we kind of start being groomed from our births. Even, you know, as a 10-year-old, as an 8-year-old, you learn that you have to cover up to, you know, not be sexual, to not attract people. I remember when I was a child, I felt the need to wear tops of swimsuits. I felt already uncomfortable not wearing them because this is, you know, a part of being a woman, covering your body in a way that's different to how men cover their body, right? And my mother was like, what is there to cover? Like, chill, you don't need it. But at this moment, I already felt uncomfortable. It sucks. But you kind of, the thing is that you learn to coexist, even though it's extremely toxic, with this view of yourself through your sexuality and your attractiveness. And at the same time, you understand that people who value your sexuality and your attractiveness might not actually, very likely not care about you as a person. I remember my great aunts calling my sister a sex bot when she was only 12 years old. It was cringy as fuck. They would also tell her, a 12-year-old girl, to dress nice and to catch her rich husband. Yes, yeah, it starts very early. I've been getting sometimes short videos from feminist women who are raising their children, their boys, and like the last one I saw was, she was complaining about how her son came from kindergarten and said that women shouldn't work because they're not capable enough, and he's like 4 years old. This is what he learned in kindergarten, and she had to take her time to make him unlearn it. It wouldn't just, you know, go away because she said it's not right. She had to explain to him, like, do you see that I'm working, I'm driving a car? And he's like, yeah, but you're probably doing it worse than my dad. This kind of stuff. Like, this runs so deep. That's why when people refer to legality in terms of equality, legal thing is not enough. You need to see how society acts, what we teach each other, what we teach our children. And this takes way more time than than changing the laws. I will pour myself a drink, which is cold water. I hope it's cold already. So, does it catch my movements? No, doesn't. That sounds. You need to consider doing the French Peruan slang style and go F-emmer instead of MFer, because all of it gets cut by automod. So, in the first experiment, 147 heterosexual women between the ages of 18 and 25 were recruited from an urban Chinese university. Okay, here I want to point out that it's not heterosexual women as much as women who identified as heterosexual, I assume. Oh, how belief in karma chooses how I want to read this sometime. I will also add it to some kind of list. I have my own server. So this is where it goes. Anyway, China is a very homophobic state. So just because these women think they're heterosexual doesn't mean they necessarily are. It's not really that important in this context, I think. I just wanted to point it out. Okay. So, participants read a short scenario asking them to imagine being on a blind date with a man. The scenario varied along 2 dimensions. The man was described either as having socioeconomic status, for example, highly educated with a good income, or low socioeconomic status. Additionally, the scenario either included or omitted a sexually objectifying gaze. In the objectifying conditions, participants were told, as you chat, you notice that he seems distracted and you feel that he is observing your body, his gaze wandering over you. Oh my god, they were doing a role play. It wasn't even a simulated situation. It was a fucking role play. Homophobic, but they sure do have a lot of boys. again. Just gotta find a far-right fanboy thing home after. Problem solved. Have you seen about Uncle Red from China? This was a man who could fish as a woman, and not as an attractive one, and like thousands of guys came and he gave them a blowjob. Many stayed for a blowjob, and without their knowledge, he record. No. Oh, so Rami tricked me. God. So I was talking about Uncle Red. He obviously was a man dressed as a woman, not a transgender woman, just a man catfishing. Two sack of men recorded them like little videos, post them. This was in Nanjing, in China. You can look it up, and they stayed. So I think, like, here we can see that this many men were willing to. Sister Hong, right, Sister Hong. They wanted sexual favors from a person they weren't actually attracted to, most of them. I mean, it's a little bit illegal, not because of homosexuality, I'm not sure about Chinese law on that, but recording without your knowledge and posting is sure illegal. So there's that. Why did I remember it? Roleplay, right. Anyway, so this is an imaginary scenario. As you chat, you notice that he seems distracted, and you feel that he is observing your body, his gaze wandering over you. He towers over you. He smirks. I'm sorry. This is just ChatGPT roleplay. After reading this scenario, participants were asked to choose between two dresses that varied in how revealing they were. This served as a behavioral measure of self-sexualization, with selection of more revealing dress interpreted as a higher degree of self-sexualization. Reads like a fanfic, yeah. Rami, you... Okay, you got automodded for ugly old woman. What gets me was why he went out of his way to LARP as an ugly old woman. I mean, he would find it hard to LARP as a pretty young woman, I think. Well, he is not right in his head, obviously. Like something which hates me for being based. I do not agree. Say thank you for letting you say things without getting filtered. So this is insane. This served as behavioral dresses, depending on how revealing, would show a degree of self-sexualization. A fucking dress, not even like, would you do this or that, and a series of different options. No, choose a fucking dress. This is insane. Participants also completed a questionnaire assessing their level of state safety anxiety. That is, how concerned they would feel for their personal safety in the imagined situation. This is like creative writing on their part. The second experiment followed a similar design with a new group of 181 heterosexual women in the same age range, also recruited from the same university. This time, the scenario manipulated the attractiveness of the male date instead of his socioeconomic status. I can't believe this is something they posted. This is insane. Did I already say it? Across both studies, imagining a sexually objectifying gaze from the male date reliably increased participants' reported safety anxiety. The effect occurred regardless of whether the man was described as attractive or not, or as high or low in socioeconomic status. Why this is insane is because we know when it comes to fiction and to scenarios, women have this tendency sometimes, some women, to how to say it, like kind of replace sexual violence, but in a good way, because this is a way to process sexual trauma. I think, like, when I was a young teen, I watched this anime called Maid Sama. There, the president of student council, a girl who is very smart, academically gifted, strong, and all that, had to work as a maid in a maid cafe. And a guy from her school discovered that, and he genuinely sexually harassed her. And this was shoujo anime, shoujo manga. So this was thought to be viewed as something attractive, something like true romance. So of course, this is just an example, one of an insane amount of examples where sexual harassment is portrayed in media as something attractive, as something a woman should want, as a real love, and I did internalize it, and I am absolutely not submissive in any way in reality. Like, I can only engage in these fantasies inside my head, never, if this happens in real life, I actually get aggressive, and my fight or flight instinct only has a fight mode. So I actually get really aggressive and start confronting people. Anyway, so this is studied and observed a very well-known way to cope with sexual objectification, sexual violence. You know, as far as I know, a lot of rape victims have oh my god, Rami, again, you need to choose your words carefully. So, what I was saying, yeah, a lot of victims of rape will fantasize or even try to play non-consensual sexual scenarios. It's even called CNC, consensual non-consent, I think. So it's an existing kink. Like, this is replaying a scary situation that you've lived through within a safe environment, which helps to deal with emotions that won't be as overwhelming as when it is scary. Like, let's think about phobias. Okay, I actually have developed not so long ago a phobia of heights, and it's not great. It's not a great thing to have. Like, I look at a view from a window somewhere up high on a photo, and I get anxious over it. To overcome it, I need to learn to look at these things slowly, so that at some point I will be able to look down from, at least 8th floor out of the window without getting extremely scared. This has to happen in a controlled environment, right? I need to overcome my negative feelings in such an environment. Okay. I remember my body telling me he ended up watching a yaoi anime about a male demon molesting a young man and gaslighting him into believing that he was in love with him. This is a good example, and you know why? Because yaoi is aimed at women. Don't watch GoPro videos of parkour runners jumping in between skyscrapers. I promise you I will not. My friend lives on the 17th floor. By the way, I think 17th. I will be watching cat at her place, so it's gonna be tough. Honestly, I didn't think about it. Anyway, she sends a photo of how she cleaned her balcony, and now you can see so well through the windows, and I'm like, oh my god, I am terrified. I do not need to think about it. So, shit's be shitting. Okay. However, what's happening? However, safety anxiety only translated into a reduction in self-sexualization when the man was described as an attractive or of low socioeconomic status. In those conditions, women were more likely to choose the less revealing dress. By contrast, when the man was described as attractive or high in status, women's self-sexualization level remained elevated, even though they reported feeling anxious about their safety. So, even being unsafe, they still had to perform. They still saw themselves as having to perform this female model. According to the authors, these findings suggest that women may weigh both safety concerns and potential benefits when making decisions about how to present themselves in contexts shaped by sexual objectification. According to me, this doesn't tell shit. It's not even like modeling. They just said, imagine an attractive guy. Imagine he looks at your body. Wow, such science. How was this published? This is a bunch of nothing. It's kind of upsetting to me. However, safety anxiety only translated, according to authors, as they write, our female participants tended to take both safety and resources into account when making decisions about their sexual attractiveness under the culture of sexual objectification. I want you to think about this. So, you are a dainty Chinese woman. A man in front of you on a date looks at you like you're a meat. Do you need to immediately look for safety? You are in a public place. You decide that you can continue judging your safety levels because you are in public. Most likely nothing is gonna happen. So if you if you were overthinking, there's no need to, lose a chance, right? You need to account for overthinking. And when it's a non-attractive person, well, they just don't want to attract this person because they are not attractive, because there are no features. Just imagine a person you find unattractive and you are on a date with them. Do you want to look more attractive to them? Do you want to be sexier for them? Such a stupid idea for a study. It's insane. People really be getting grants for everything. By contrast, when the man was described as attractive or high in status, women's self-sexualization levels remained elevated, even though they still reported feeling anxious about their safety. Oh, right. The study adds to the growth research examining how women navigate objectification in social and romantic contexts, particularly when weighing competing insensitive to take risk, avoidance, and potential social or economic gain. However, the researchers acknowledge several limitations. Thank God, the study relied on imagined scenarios and self-report measures, which may not fully reflect real-world behavior. Participants might have responded differently in actual social situation. Additionally, because the sample consisted entirely of young Chinese women, the finding may not generalize to other age groups, cultures, or social contexts. And also, choice of dress isn't that much of a revealing thing, you know. Maybe they are just, students, and they reported in a journal just to accumulate published articles. This happens, then yeah, it does make sense. We need young scientists to do their I guess immature science, infantile science, baby science. Okay, what did we learn today? Let's go. Especially with this study, I shall remind you what comments there are. Look for cultural context within studies. Good one. Yeah. Is does the study reveal anything brutal? How do they define a sexually objectifying gaze? Can you guys answer this question? Staring while ugly, or what is it? Redditors do not look at sources. Yeah. Here comes your scientific black pill. That it never began for incels. Why? Why do you think that? Where did it come from? Whoa, didn't know we needed an expert to tell us people like being stared at by attractive people. Yeah, creepy is just another word for ugly. The fine line between of being a creep or a funny, charming guy is if you're attractive, you'll never hear a woman refer to an average or an ugly man as charming. Not true. You'll hear it plenty of times. Okay. Because we were born and our lives were over. You, Rami, you are defaulting to things that you have learned so that you don't have to think again. These are mental shortcuts you take, and like it's some defensive mechanism. Please do not question what I think. Please do not bring any doubt. It's like you're afraid that if you doubt, you will find out you're wrong, which I genuinely think is what's happening to you. You are afraid to find out that something you've come to believe over the years will crumble like a cookie, and that what you build your identity and life around would not be all the truth, though. I do think that appearances affect people's views of you and affect people, but this study isn't a good example of that. Yeah, how effect is known, well studied. This can't even be accounted for as an ugly, as a halo effect. Like, you are just it's cool that they have that. What is look, that they point out that in blackpill the locus of control is external, and this is the problem. Remember when I asked about feeling powerless topics? You guys didn't really want to engage with this topic. It's been decades and so far nothing has crumbled, but with fun I would try and learn better as if I'm a normal human being. No, please don't. Even if you know, keep being this defensive. Okay, fine, I'll just keep pointing it out. But you need to understand that you are not being logical here, you're not being rational. You are coping, this is coping with something you perceive as an attack in a way. But I really don't want you to try and be someone else, like pretend. I want you to kind of develop, like we all are constantly developing, and I want you to direct your inevitable development and growth in a way that is not so bad for you. I'll say it as it is. It's just bad for you. So, like you said, that you feel powerless all the time. I don't know if there is any way to reclaim what I have never had. Nobody takes me seriously enough. This is an external locus of this is because you have an external locus of control. The reason I talked with you about how to reclaim it is because sometimes people who feel powerless reclaim this sense of power through violence, or like through just being shitty people, because they can see that they do something, they feel it has had effect. But there are different ways to do it. Like in my case, me trying to affect you is me trying to, as I talked about, I don't have much agency. This is my way not to feel powerless, since I can't change much around me. I'm trying to go somewhere where I know I can bring some change, so I do that. You know? Do you guys get me? Am I just yapping into the void? Oh my god, the visual of me drinking is something. Oh no, it's normal. Okay, so what we should take out of it? Superficial. Oh. If you can't heal yourself, heal others, or both through that. Both, for me, it's I feel better when I help people. It's human nature to help other people. We are social beings. And I've said many times that I am antisocial. It's just that my interactions, my social interactions, are not in the same way that they are for other people. Like my mind values different aspects as heavier than normal people's minds. Anyway, so yeah, people like helping each other actually. Even when it comes to physiology, we actually feel like experience some hormonal spikes is too much, but like we get positive hormones. I think it's oxytocin, and I think one other too that responds to positive feelings, correlates to positive feelings. Helping others can be good, and you feel better afterwards, but you have to be careful or they will take advantage of you. Yeah, I think I've been taken advantage of. It's inevitable, but something I've read recently, love given is never wasted. And kind of like there's also they like took your love, okay, take it, I'll make more. This is why I agree with the right wing about toxic empathy. What do you mean by toxic empathy? Maybe I should look it up sometime. too much empathy is a bad thing. People will abuse your empathy. So too much empathy is a bad thing, not really because people will abuse it, but because you will just run out of your emotional capacities. So you have to pick and choose where you provide empathy. Like, you cannot bawl your eyes out about every war in the world. You can be conscious about it. You can be both empathetic towards people or understanding, at least. Like, you don't have to really go out of your way to show empathy, to be empathetic. There's more than just I don't care or crying over it and dedicating your life to it. Like, you see, I picked my niche. I picked a few niches where I dedicate more effort to. I remember as a kid always caring about other people, and I had to learn not to give a shit after being asked many times, why do I care? Like, people asked you, why do you care about other people? Why do you think I care? You think I care, right? I would hope so. Real, I don't even know why people gave me shit for it either. Makes no sense. True. It's a cultural thing, I'm pretty sure. This is also protect your peace kind of belief that makes us feel more isolated. I think it's like when I was a child, when all members of my family lived together, above us lived a family that had very intense fights, and sometimes I would be nervous and I would suggested at least once that, like, maybe we should call the police, and my family is like, oh, they'll take care of themselves, it's not our business. And I'm like, why? What if someone dies? Yeah, it's a lonely life, but at least you don't have to deal with drama or people taking advantage of you. I genuinely don't feel like I can feel like I can be really taken advantage of. How to put it? I was being myself, okay? And you were being yourself. My life is meant to be lived with my most authentic self. And if my authentic self is someone who places care and love not where it would be beneficial, that's fine. I think, like, I wouldn't get much of it either way. And I don't think drama is all that bad. There's a difference between people intentionally creating drama and just different negative experience and conflicts. Conflicts are important. As for the example of the family that lived above you, yeah, in my culture we learned not to get involved or even call police because snitches get stitches. Yeah, I mean, there's also distrust of police, of course, is a big thing. I mean, how many times do women die after they report domestic violence and or being stalked, by the way, and nothing happens? One, I think it was in 2018, a situation that went viral was a woman called police because her husband was violent against her. And she said that she thinks he will kill her, and the operator said, well, when there's a dead body, then you can call us, we'll come, we'll investigate the body, report the body. And they had to come and look at the body because she died. She was killed by her husband after that. People, love to bring up how women can just fake an appeal, fake report someone to police. But no matter where you are, police so rarely cares about victims that most don't even try to report because it's being re-victimized again multiple times. It's being dismissed. Your body gets violated again, like with the rape kit and all that. This is not something people are likely to go through. Okay, of course there will be bad apples. There's also people who fake their own kidnappings, and there are those who, put shampoo bottles up their asses and they have to go to the emergency. We're not gonna ban shampoo bottles because some people misuse it, right? A weird comparison, I'm sure. Okay. We didn't conclude with what we learned today. So, what we learned is that sexualization and objectification is a different thing, are two different things. Sexualization can be normal. It can be self-expression. It can be submission to societal pressures. It can be both at once. Then we learned that if someone posts an article, posts a source, that you can't access, they probably did not access it either, and they probably haven't read it, and you can shit on them for it. Or they should present you the source where they read it. What else? People just be saying stuff is a good one. Black pill science. The mask of intelligence that black pill presents is just a mask, and it's a cheap one. They do not read articles. The reality is not being represented, and as we can see, a huge chunk of information is ignored for the sake of portraying reality as brutal, even though it makes no sense to call it brutal. What else? Objectification sucks. Like, you genuinely stop seeing yourself as a person when you self-objectify. You judge your performance of like who you need to be, and if it's being sexual, then it's being sexual, but it could be other things too. Like, are you a good worker bee in your work hive? If you only think about how to be a satisfactory employee and don't think about how to live your life, you might be objectifying yourself too, just in a non-sexual way. Looks maxers objectify themselves. They don't view themselves as persons, they view themselves as a body that needs to be molded to have, some superior form that cannot exist actually. Anyway, final words. Good person, Maxim. That'd be nice. I mean, wasn't it Socrates who said that all people kind of want to be good people, and they just often don't have the knowledge either how to be a good people or that being good people will make them happy. I used to think, I don't think so, but I think I circled back to this view after all. But maybe it's just me placing too much importance on social part of life. Where's my good night? Where's my sweet dreams? Where's my thank you for a very interesting stream, despite the fact that you lost your mind in the beginning? Good night with the dot. What do you mean Americans? For Americans, it's the middle of the day. Thank you. I can send more, actually, pictures from my walk. leaving for now.